Yeah, so this is going to be a weird video because I'm going to be talking about tripod plates and tripod heads and my journey with this guy right here. So this is a Manfrotto style 501 plate. I feel like everybody has a bunch of these if you own a camera, especially if you do video, because everybody has some version of this video head. This is not a Manfrotto one, but yeah, it's a Manfrotto style plate, and the idea is you bolt this to the bottom of the camera. I like that it has two screws and it locks on, and sometimes it has features like it's longer or shorter, and it has catches sometimes, some don't. I don't think this one does, so it won't slide off the camera. Very useful, very simple, solid design. I find it to be ugly, I find it to be annoying, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but the entire aftermarket of tripods pretty much use this. The other design that they use is the Arca Swiss, which I have right here. So this has got a Manfrotto on top, but here's an Arca receiver on one of my ball heads. I have a ton of ball heads because there's a time and place for video heads, and there's a time and place for ball heads. So I have a bunch of ball heads. I really like them a lot. They're all Arca Swiss, and in the same way, the Manfrotto style is a dovetail. So if you look at this, it's got a dovetail on it. So is this. This Arca Swiss plate is a dovetail plate. It's a bit of a different design. It's a newer design. They actually make a much bigger dovetail for really high-end cinema cameras called the RE style dovetail, which is basically, instead of having the plate be the dovetail, the actual thing you bolt to the tripod is the dovetail. So it's like this. Except, probably 4 times the size because it's 1.5 feet long. And your camera just has clamps on the bottom, and your whole camera team helps you slide the camera onto this dovetail. And it's a really, really strong, really good, reliable, design, but it's kind of got the same annoyances of this. So here's my issue. Here's my issue with the Manfrotto 501 style. Working in the daylight, anything that has a Manfrotto 501 style receiver, you can just get it on and you're done. It's easy. However, when you're working in the dark, like on a film set, and you have a really heavy camera, this is not really heavy, I don't know why I grunted so hard, but you're trying to get it onto your tripod, and you get it started, and then you're going at a weird angle or something, and you cannot get it's not going to move, it's stuck, it's wedged. And your only hope is either you get lucky, or you pull it off and hopefully don't bang anything and try again. You just got to get to that. You just got to get to that click, because then you're safe. This one actually is so safe that it's not gonna let go. But to get that first quarter of an inch will kill you. And the solution that cinema cameras and Hollywood has fixed for this and for the RE style dovetails that are gigantic is it's a 2-man job. One person guides, one person holds. But the entire world has these little tiny tripods and this, and so I found it incredibly frustrating and kind of scary. The solution that Arca Swiss has is it just drops in from the top, but it doesn't lock. So this is a pretty small one, and it has the safety nubs, but this I've found to be even scarier in the dark, because you get it in, and then you tighten it, and then you check, and then you tighten it, and then you check, and you tighten it, and you check, and hopefully you got it, and you give it a wiggle just to make sure. Yeah, there is a company that does sell drop-in, locking ones, but they're super expensive, and there's only one type, one of them, so not great. So I've adapted all of my my Arca Swiss style ball heads to 501, which is fine because I'm usually in the light when I'm putting these little tiny guys together. If I'm in a situation where I need to mount something really high and it's dangerous, I'll go to this. I found this early on in my career. Not found, it was never lost, but this is a RC2 photography Manfrotto style plate and receiver. It's a little plate. Wish it had 2 screws, but it doesn't. But you just got to get close, and then it'll lock on really hard, shockingly hard, so you got it. It's basically impossible to miss, because it really won't let you, if you can't get it, you can't get it. So you have to be able to, there, and you're good. And it has a locking lever so that once it's locked, it's locked. Really great design. So if I'm trying to put my camera in a place where I can only have the strength to do it once, which is already kind of terrifying, I use this. The problem with this design, other than the fact that this particular one is bolted to the ball head, which is kind of annoying, is it's not flat. If you look at the locking pin and the rotating screw actually exist below the height of the deck, which means you can't flat mount it anywhere, whereas Manfrotto style stuff, you can. This one I don't trust anymore, just because if you feel it, it's on Amazon, and I have a ton of these. I used to use them all the time, and I'm phasing them out because I'm not phasing them out, they're gone. I don't use them. This is a prop at this point, but yeah, flat bottom, locks in, really bad tolerances, but that's fine. A newer version, a sort of a small rig version, although I'm not sure if this is actually small rig, and that's what I have on here too, is this guy. It's flat bottom, usually comes with a little short shoe, which I appreciate. So, and it comes in from either direction, which I appreciate. But that's been very useful. But again, you gotta be able to find the nubs to get it in. Otherwise, it's not gonna work out. That's what this is. So even this guy, I put a Manfrotto style horizontally on this guy, and you can just, there you go, and then just tighten it down, and you're good. I buy that. Honestly, this is my poor man's hi-hat system right here. Just a Manfrotto style receiver, a ball head, and then some feet. Excuse me. So I don't hate that, but this camera's light enough. You don't even really need the feet, but you can do that. Hopefully I won't knock it over. But yeah. So the RE style or the Arca Swiss style scares me because you drop it in, you got to clamp it on, and you just got to hope it works. The Manfrotto 501 style, you gotta line it up perfectly, otherwise you're boned. But clearly I keep buying more and more Manfrotto style stuff. Like this is a super long one. It was way too expensive for what it was. But basically I could put a camera on the front and a block battery on the back. And then because the block battery is so heavy, I could balance it. And so like the center of balance was like there, which was pretty decent. Ultimately I got with the times and invested in rails, but for a very long time, instead of rails, I was doing that, and it kind of worked. Ultimately, I went over to rails just because it makes more sense, but yeah, so for some reason, the Manfrotto 501, the whole aftermarket has been using it, and it still has that problem. It's not a huge problem, but it's really annoying. All of a sudden, the aftermarket has made this, which completely solves my problem. So this is actually a better head than this in every way because it's got resistance for pan and tilt, but yeah, all of a sudden you can just drop it in. So why was this not always the plan? That's what I don't understand. So now I'm in, I can slide it forward to balance it if I need to, and there we go, we got it. Why was this not always the design? I don't understand. I mean, I guess there's a little bit more mechanical complexity to have a button in a different spot. I mean, this is actually incredibly simple. If you look at this, and this is plastic, that's why it's not Manfrotto, but you have a retainer, you have a safety screw, and you have a tightening screw, and that's all you have. Whereas this has like more pieces to it, but it's basically doing the same thing. You just, there you go. So that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted this to do. So it took 25 years or however long since they started making the 501 style plates, but all of a sudden, basically any tripod head you're gonna buy that's got a Manfrotto style head has a drop-in, which is fantastic. Honestly, if I'm gonna keep using this, I might just use this. So let's go through. We got Stone Age, we got feudalism, Western Europe, and now we have the 21st century. We have a Falcam, and this has a Arca Swiss plate on the bottom because, again, I usually put this on my ball heads, but it's even gnarlier than this guy. It's still a drop-in style, but it really grabs, and it's on a spring, and so you can tighten it if you want to, but even just to loosen it, to slide it back and forth, you gotta really wrench on this thing to get it, and then you can slide it, or if you want to just take it all the way out, you can push it, and then it'll stay open. But yeah, when you need it to, and so this is good for shoulder rigs. I do have a VCT 14 shoulder rig, whatever they're cleat or whatever, what, you know, the news gathering people use, but this I feel like is better anyway. Honestly, even for this, if I want to use something like this, like an old Manfrotto style one, I would probably just put this plate on the bottom of this, sort of have, you know, the same thing twice, and all of a sudden now I have a quick release on this. So that's what's been so frustrating this whole time. I've been trying to get away from, well, not successfully clearly, since I have a ton of these the freaking 501 style plates that everybody has, because they're ugly and they're useful for like one specific thing, but they're not that useful. And all of a sudden, now that we have what I've been waiting for the whole time, they're infinitely useful. And basically this drop-in style works with every Manfrotto 501 style plate. So yeah, finally, maybe I'm trying to justify my investment here, but I don't hate these anymore, after hating them for a very, 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 very long time. So they're, you know, it'd be nice to live in the Arca Swiss world, because I do think Arca Swiss is a very cool design, but when it comes to standardization of equipment, clearly I've committed to Manfrotto 501 style, and, you know, I have multiple cameras and they all have some version of a Manfrotto 501 style plate on the bottom, so that, you know, every tripod or everything I'm mounting it to, if I'm mounting it to a C-stand or whatever, it's gonna fit. Even this, yeah, it fits. It's facing the wrong way, but yeah. That's been my journey, though, to this stupid, annoying plate that all of a sudden is now like incredibly, incredibly useful, and the only thing that needed to change was go from just a mediocre design to an actually like well thought out design that requires way less effort and you can do in the dark, and that's what I care about the most. I will say the Falcam is inappropriately too expensive, otherwise I'd have 5 of these, but I think I paid like 85 or $100 or something for just this. Yeah, so maybe there's a way for the aftermarket to take the technology in this and or take the technology in this and make something for this price. I'm hoping that doesn't mean, you know, patent violations and stealing technology, but I would like a situation where all my gear can lock in some version of the way Falcam does it, because that's awesome. But for the time being, I'm happy with the Falcam one that I have. I'll keep using, you know, the little small rig style ones from my ball heads where I can see what I'm doing, and boy, I trust this tripod head a lot more now that I can lock it in. So that's what it is. I don't know. What do you guys think? Are you a big Manfrotto person? Are you of the Arca Swiss generation? Or is this all just the most mundane, boring stuff that you've ever experienced? Let me know what you think. I'm stuck doing this until I get my $1 million and I can buy some, you know, RE-style dovetails, but then I'll probably not be doing this on a coffee table. So like, share, subscribe. Catch you on the next one.